Okay, hello and welcome in from Sunnyvale, California. I'm Mark Vierra. This is just my basic technical analysis video that I put together, usually once a week here to go along with my weekly trading log that you can find at HotStockMarket.com. And quickly, we're going to take a look at the week that was here. Just flat as a pancake, pretty much flat, negative 0.3%. We're up for the quarter, about an equal amount that we are down for the month of May, and bars raised a bit higher here now. Intraday high is now 1902.17 on the S&P 500, and we're a little over 1% from that. Starting off as always with a monthly chart, and there's just really nothing else different to see than last week. I was focusing on the April candle that's closed. Closing above midpoint is bullish. Current candle still, we got a higher low, higher high. Other than that, there's really not much else to see on the monthly. Nothing new, that is, anyway, on the monthly. For the weekly, wide lens view, just same trend lines, haven't changed anything there. Let's zoom in, take a look. And we're finding the body is paying respect to this pivot that I've drawn. This is pretty, I think the weekly is bullish. I'm going to get into another chart and we'll talk about resistance versus support. But on here we can just see that we're just walking up this trend line. I can see a continued higher lows. We do have higher highs being put in on an intermediate weekly time frame. Queue up a couple more weekly charts. Had a flag put into play here, and what I find to be bullish about this is we're striking the top of that flag to find support and bouncing up off of that. Now the other thing here, clear that out, is this resistance here, and I'm writing here that price is testing resistance, and it's not spending. We're not seeing any play down here at this lower intermediate to longer term trend line. And just to give you a better idea of that resistance, that here it is right here. We're doing nothing but we had one. Okay, here's where we started between here and here, and this is our two-touch support. And this is bullish here. We are tagging nothing but the upper part of this ascending triangle, and eventually, the rule of technical analysis is the more time it spends, either at support or resistance, is where it's likely going to hit the breakout point. Let's move right into the daily trend channel. Okay, wide lens view. Just here's where the lines are drawn, and I'm going to zoom in here. And we're finding support off of this trend line here, and oh boy, hold on. Now I did draw the range out to this lower because it's possible we could do like we did over here, come down to this lower trend line, and this would be the upper trend line that I'm looking at. So this is where I'm saying this is our potential range. Now, this trend line here would be where I would say if price is below this, then we would be looking for a bearish move down to here. If it stays above this, and if it pivots this trend line here, then I would be saying that we're off to the races. That's where I would call a trend line main pivot, and that is we had an inverted head and shoulders here, and what happened is we had a fake out break that put that into play, but then now we're back down below that shoulder. Now I don't draw inverted head and shoulders with an upsloping trend line, and there's just common sense involved. There's some documents I've read where you can have an upsloping trend line on an inverted head and shoulders and a downsloping neckline on a head and shoulders. And then I've read documents that say, no, you can't have that. And with chart patterns, there's a lot of common sense that comes into play now. As soon as you draw an upsloping resistance, now you have a rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern. So my rule is horizontal to downsloping neckline on an inverted head and shoulders. Other than that, then you're looking at a whole different chart pattern, really. Just still notes on chart patterns. Now, and all that's just background information. To me, the really story we'll get into is in volume. But the next chart, now, there's a lot of studies that I put more faith into than others. But I think there's information to be had, and Bollinger Bands are something that I will look at, and I do think that they provide a certain amount of useful information. I notice when Bollinger Bands do a contraction like they did back here, prices at the lower end of the, or prices at the upper end rather, when the contraction took place, when it started expanding, of course, that gave a downward move. And the same thing happened here on the contraction. We had a lower move down. Now here we have a contraction with price is down at the lower end. And I believe that the expansion of this Bollinger Band could be setting up a stronger move for the upside. The 50-day moving average, whatever moving average. But this is a technical landmark, and we have been getting, well, I don't want to say that the moving average has given us support, but that's where support is in effect. So that's Bollinger Bands, just a little bit of more information to be had. So for chart patterns, I'm going to just keep it simple. I took out the inverted head and shoulders, and I don't even really like to pay too much attention to a potential pattern until it's broken its confirmation line. But in any case, here is just we have a longer term type of rising wedge, which is a bearish reversal pattern. It moves up and gets into parabolic mode, and ultimately a rising wedge will always end up breaking down. You can just have parabolic for so long. Now, I don't think price is parabolic right now. We're more into this mid-channel type of, more of a channel than a rising wedge, but just really getting a good idea that we are seeing higher lows, and here's our higher highs. And I think this is a bullish sign. Had a little 2-day sell-off down to the trend line here, and we're getting support. Now that doesn't mean that we won't come down and test this lower trend line, but I think you'll see some responsive buyers in that area. It would be my guess. So another chart here. Now I'm not going to get too much into it, but I do. I have this. This is 1-year sector comparisons. I'll be posting this in my log if you're interested in checking that out. I'm going to have, a few weeks ago I posted another one and compare the two and see where our sectors are moving to. Now here we're going to get into what my favorite is volume. Now there's a few things here with volume that, let me just get myself out here. Get my pen. We have, first of all, the most important thing is this pickup of volume is almost in line with, here we had previous sell climax volume, and that is telling me that there's institutional interest right there, indicated by that spike of volume. We have this lower wick that was bought up. I think that is singular most bullish event in the week. We had some lack of demand sign here, but that was on really low volume, below average volume. So that pretty much foretold that, okay, we're going to see some weakness, but it's going to be limited. And the volume tells a story. Had that been up here, high volume, I would have said, oh boy, that's climaxing. Now, the other thing too is last week we had some hidden divergence here, and now we're extending that further. So this lower lows on the oscillator with higher lows on price is some hidden divergence. That's some good background information. But the volume is looking very bullish to me. And the other thing in volume, let's okay, intraday. Here's some climaxing stop style volume. Not a lot. I think the brakes are being applied. I think we could see some retracement during the week. We could end up the week flat, keep going sideways. I think eventually the resistance that I pointed out on the weekly chart is going to break. Maybe not this week. I mean, putting time frames on this is really difficult. And I could be absolutely wrong. We could see a 20% correction. But this is my analysis. Monthly composite. This is 3 months of activity, and here's our TPO, highest volume within that month of trading. You have a single TPO within a composite, and this is current month right here. This is 70% of the trading activity. This shaded, we call it Thinkorswim calls it playground area. And the rising each month, our TPOs are moving up. We've also seen the point of control has been steadily moving up. I think that when price came down to these previous TPO high volume areas is where we saw some buying response. The other thing too on the monthly, how I've got a nice bell curve forming. I mean, it's not perfect. This is a good one here, nice bell curve, but that's supportive. That's volume supporting that symmetry to the bell curve is telling me that price is finding good support on that structure. And looking forward now, this is a different composite. This is the week that was. All right, that is where we opened up the week, the initial balance. And this is really right now it's a B-shaped, and it's just crazy structure going on here. What I see is here's where the bell curve formed, and price is right here right now. So we've got support off of that bell curve, and there's nothing built up right here. Even if we look back in the previous week, it's just not a lot going on right here. So I suspect that this week, and this is my guess, that our initial balance will be somewhat in this area. We need to build up some volume over here, and that would be, I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see some price filling up some volume in the new composite that comes out for the week. And that's volume. That's what I'm seeing in the markets. And what else do I have? Let's look at U.S. Treasuries. So this could be good for stocks. Looks like U.S. Treasuries are finding some demand issues up here at the top. This is some pretty good sized volume on this upper wick. So that's telling me that I think we're going to at least come, and price was most likely, I think, going to check out the previous top for support. That's just a basic technical analysis. Whenever a resistance is broken, that becomes support. Okay, so tops become bottoms, bottoms become tops. That's just a very basic technical analysis edict. So we did have some volume expansion here at the top. I think U.S. Treasuries, and we'll see if it breaks that support, then I think we will see some lower U.S. Treasuries. Hard to say. We'll see. That could be good for the markets. The other thing that I think is extremely good for the markets is, this is really a terribly low yield going on here. And the lower that yield goes, the less people are going to want to buy U.S. Treasuries, and the more they're going to want to, have their money working for them. So eventually, I think that yield is going to move up, and that's incentive. For the U.S. dollar, we hear a lot about the The yen carry trade, borrow yen to buy stocks, give you better return for the money. Well, if the U.S. dollar is any indication, we have a bullish flag formation. U.S. dollar has been, it shot up and it's holding ground pretty well, building, consolidating into a flag. So I think we could see some stronger U.S. dollar, and that would be, a good thing in terms of that yen, the new yen carry trade. Now for the euro, and it's been very good to me. Of course, this video isn't any buying or selling recommendations. I am just, this is just technical analysis here. So, U.S. dollar, or the euro is finding a good base. We had, this lower shadow here, but it's not on a lot of volume. So that's telling me that for the near term we could see price holding, but I'm suspecting that it's only a temporary reprieve is what I wrote in here. Had this been higher volume, then I would have seen more institutional interest and would expect euro to head up higher. But I think this point of control, this volume node right here, this is a 6-month point of control, and I think that's going to provide a pretty decent resistance level. I do think that euro is going to head lower, and that's what I'm seeing in the markets right now. And let's see, let's call this a video. So once again, now you can find me over here at HotStockMarket.com. This is where I have a weekly trading log. Now I also in here during the week I update this as my non-index, where I'm speculating on options, doing fairly well, and you can see what I'm trading here in my log, my weekly log. Also, Reddit, got some good discussions going on in here, and you want to check this stuff out. Subreddit Stock Market, HotStockMarket.com. I'm Mark Vierra. That's it, and I will see you all on the boards.